Hi, it's Charlie and welcome back to my layout. During this COVID time, you can see that I'm trying to become an aging rock star with the hair and the matching t-shirt. Hopefully I'll be able to get a trim soon. So because of COVID, we've all had lots of time to do other things, and I'm no different. And you know, I'm struggling with trying to get my layout organized and get points in and sidings, and it's challenging because let's be honest, this is my first layout and I'm doing it on my own, and it's challenging at times. I'm discovering different errors that I've made. As an example, too much solder on the rails that cause the trains to jump and rock, and you may see that the odd time in the videos. And also, because many of the locomotives that I have been in storage for a while, they've not been serviced, they've not been maintained, and so I've made the error of putting them on the track and they've been squealing like banshees. And I wasn't really sure if it was just because they were Ringfield Motors and that they were ready for the dustbin, because I've watched a number of other YouTube videos and it seemed quite complicated to fix them. Anyway, I pulled out the trusty Hornby locomotive maintenance sheets, and I went through the process of lubricating all the points in and around the Ringfield motor that they recommend that gets a touch of oil. So you'll be seeing that in the video, and some of the successes I had, and they weren't all successful. There's a couple that still require a bit of attention, and I'll have to think about it and do a little bit more research on what to do next for those. But the others, I managed to get them moving smoothly, and once I get the track cleaned up, replace some of the sections, and then get more points down, I'll be able to run more trains at the same time. So as I said, you're going to see some trains running. I've got a variety of stuff on the video this time. Some you may have seen, some you may not have seen, some combinations you might not agree with, but it's all about running trains, doesn't matter what you have. So I'd like to hear back from you. Any comments or advice would be more than welcome. So let's just jump right in and see what's been running on the layout this week. This is a beautiful model, but tender driven, and most of these are the same. Many of them squeal, so I'm going to try and fix that. I'll open it up and see if I can oil the parts that really require it, and now it's stopped totally. It's a shame, but we'll see if we can fix it. And this one's much the same. It might be a different problem. Just very frustrating. It's just an awful noise, and I'm not really sure if it's the motor or a combination of that and the coupler. This one seems to be okay, but the majority of them are all suffering from that squealing. And my layout isn't exactly perfect at this point in time. It can run at a relatively slow speed, but I think it just needs a little bit of attention, a little bit of TLC, and sometimes the bogies come off the rail very easily. They seem to get locked in position, and I'm not really sure if that's just a fault in the design. But quite pleased with the way this is running now, and probably just requires a good run-in. It's a beautiful looking set. 9 coaches. Well, hopefully you can see the instructions here for this Ringfield motor from Hornby. So it points out where you should be placing oil, and I'm going to go through that process to see if it will assist in reducing the screaming. Now I have this motor oil here. It's actually from Atlas, but it's exactly what I need. So I'm just going to turn this over here, and it says you should put a drop. It's difficult to tell whether there's anything coming out. So I'm actually just trying to pick up some oil from the bottle. It doesn't seem to be working if I squeeze it. And they said if you can see the oil, you know, you've obviously put too much on. Kind of difficult to say. And they also recommend down on the axles there. So I'm just going to put a dab on the axles this way. So adding oil to the mechanism didn't seem to help. There's obviously something else going on inside there. Those cogs are not or just barely moving. If you can see closely enough, the cog is barely turning. And here's the Black 5, another Ringfield motor, and it squeals like a banshee. So I'll try and lubricate this one, see if it makes any difference. Well, that's amazing. That one's worked. That's perfect. Now I can do the same to the rest and hopefully I'll get the same result. An interesting little exercise. Now this one is hesitating. So maybe some light oiling will help that one. Well, that's a huge improvement. Not 100%, but much better. Probably just needs a good run in now. And maybe the track getting cleaned and just a little bit more oiling. Well, in my ignorance, I had allowed these locomotives to deteriorate, and obviously I hadn't been servicing them. So when I did bring out these locomotives to run and do a little bit of videotaping, they were squealing like banshees. It was unbelievable, and I thought it was the death knell for all those Ringfield motors. Now I've gone through the exercise of lubricating all the points, as outlined in the Hornby data sheet or instruction sheet. They seem to be running quite well, and that's a great relief because you know there's a fair amount of money involved in purchasing sort of each and every one of these, and to have them lie in a box and not being able to run them and not being able to sell them on would be very disappointing and frustrating. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little exercise that I've gone through, and I also hope that you've enjoyed the trains that have been running here on the layout just as a filler during this period of COVID. And if there's anything that you'd like to see, drop me a note and I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, take care. Remember to give me the big thumbs up, press that button, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.